Shall we start?
Let's do it. Good morning.
Good morning. Do you know what we haven't done ever since the last episode? So in these last 2 episodes,
No.
we haven't said welcome to the employer brand. No, what's it called? The podcast. I can't remember.
Generation EP.
Exactly. We never introduce the podcast.
No.
What the name is, what we do,
Who we are.
Who we are. We just people should know, which is.
But I do think, like, listening to other podcasts, like, it might be hard to see that, like, oh, that's that person speaking. Oh, that's that person speaking.
Yeah.
Like, you can't connect the voices. But I think very much for us,
It's very clear.
I do not think we have to worry about that part.
No, but that's a really good point, because I listen to a lot of podcasts when it's like 2 girls or 2 guys. It's you're like, but who is who, and what you know, you never know, and then you have to kind of go do your research on their Instagram,
Yeah.
trying to find out, hearing the voice, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now I know.
Maybe people should still do the research about us, though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Of course.
Follow us.
Follow us on LinkedIn,
Yeah. do it.
TikTok. Yeah, that's
That's
basically
it?
they're basically where we're at.
Do you use your Instagram for, like, business purposes? Like, do you promote your brand in any way there?
No, sometimes. But I have a Embrando Instagram account, but that basically I just put up stuff that I have made, and it's basically my friends and my parents. They're like, "Yay, good job!" So it's not very business
The woo
related.
girls.
Yeah, and I'm super happy that they like to woo on me, but
Of course.
yeah, but no, I have actually not. I'm very bad on other channels than LinkedIn to put out content. LinkedIn, I'm pretty good at putting out content.
Yeah. Yeah, you post a lot.
Yeah, I try to do at least once a week,
Yeah.
sometimes 2. Like I was sitting yesterday evening, writing LinkedIn posts, and I started to write on one thing, and then I kind of in the middle of it switched it, because I realized, this took another turn into a better topic.
This took another turn.
Yeah.
How long was this post?
Yeah, but no, it's not like it was maybe a few sentences, but then I realized I had an even better idea,
Got it.
and then I started to work on that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how you just need to start to work, right? It's basically when we went to university as well. When you started to write, like, I don't know, your thesis or other group project, you just need to start writing. And once you start, it is very, very, very easy to just go with the flow, and then you get to a good point. So
Right.
that's my life hack of the day.
Life hack. Yeah. No, but that's true. And I think sometimes when you haven't created any content, and that could, for example, be LinkedIn posts, like
Yep.
just as an example. But when you've not done that for a while,
Yep.
it takes, like, it's such a resistance to just get it out there. It's
Yeah.
like you forget how to write, you forget your own tone of voice, you forget all these things. You're like, I don't even know who I am. What should I post here?
Yeah. But that's the good thing, that you have a podcast and you need to push content with, because then you don't have a choice.
No, we don't have a choice.
We need to, or we could not post and people wouldn't listen. But yeah,
No, but again, and I think that's coming back to, like, what's the purpose of this podcast? Like,
exactly.
it's for us to, like, hang out, talk, share our ideas, and then bring people with it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's how it all started. Like we talked about in the first
Yeah,
episode.
100%.
This is what we do. We drink coffee. We talk about how we're doing. We talk about content. We talk about how bad we feel sometimes,
Yeah.
and how great we feel some other days.
Yeah,
So that's just it.
But from the last episode, a lot of stuff happened. So we started to mention people in the podcast, and the people respond, and then people share that on TikTok, and then we got, I don't know, we didn't get too many listeners, but like we get some new listeners and new followers, which was super nice. And I think it's super fun to see that people actually are happy when we mention people. So we're only gonna start mentioning people in this podcast from now and furthermore. And with that said, I want to just bring this up. I told you this before I came here, but so yesterday I had. Okay, so the background story to this is that we use Team Taylor at Funnel, and I haven't been super happy with them lately. I think they are taking the wrong decisions in where they're moving with the.
I mean, they changed a lot.
They changed a lot,
yeah.
and they made, in my opinion, they made things more complicated that it might need to be. So they had a pretty good analytics view, and then just made it more difficult to understand. And then there's some metrics that I want to have, but they can't offer, and so on.
Can I just jump in there? Because I mean, you're pretty good with data, and like you worked with it for a while. Do you think that it's like who did they make it harder for in this case?
Exactly. I think that's a really good question, because I understand that I am very deep into data, and the average user is probably someone that is working with talent or recruitment. There's not super data savvy, probably. But like one of the things that they don't have, that they can't offer, is you can't see how many jobs you have open in a certain period of time. So I think that's a kind of, that's something everyone, even if you're a recruiter or a hiring manager or whatever, you want that data.
Yeah, because that's like basic knowledge.
Especially now when times are hard. Like you can see on the graph or something, how have stuff gone last year?
Yeah.
So I got an NPS survey from Teamtailor, and I put a 2 out of 10 because
2 out of 10.
which was maybe not
did
super nice.
Did you put a comment to it?
No, I did not.
Or just 2 out of 10?
Yeah, I did. I actually wrote a comment saying,
call me.
This is my phone now. No, but I actually said a comment saying, this is I think the platform is moving in the wrong direction. I'm not super happy with it anymore. And our CS person reached out to me on email. I didn't answer because I didn't have time when I got it, and I forgot about it. Then she reached out again, and I added it to my to-do list, but didn't answer directly. I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I'm sorry that I'm a terrible person that doesn't answer.
Did you leave her on read? You left a 2, and then
I don't know if you can see that on emails.
Just kidding. Yeah.
No.
Okay,
So yeah. So what happened next is I get a DM on LinkedIn. I get a connection request from a guy called Eric, and Eric is the CEO of Teamtailor. And I was
wow! So the CEO reached out.
The CEO reached out to me, and he wrote to me later yesterday, and he was like, I saw that you weren't super happy. I would just be super nice to hear what you think. I'm really respecting your opinion here, and I want to hear
your thoughts and the reason behind it too.
Exactly. So someone actually had sent this to him probably, or he got a notification, whatever, saying that I'm not super happy with the platform. And he was like, I understand if you don't have the time and so on, but if you have time, please. I was super happy. And I wrote I was very honest with. I was like, I think the platform is moving in the wrong direction from an employer branding perspective. From a talent perspective, I can't tell, but from an employer branding perspective, which you also say in your the big header on your career.
That's their sales pitch.
Exactly, employer branding. So it's valid to have an opinion about this. But I say what I thought. I kind of said that I think that analytics work. I think this metric I want to be. I think some part of the blog post is really shitty, and I've been talking to support many times asking for improvement about this, because it feels like a bug that they never fix. And I have some more thoughts, but I can probably comment them right now. And then I said this. So I said, you guys are still the best on the market right now. But if there would come up a competitor that would offer a better employer branding solution and as good talent solution or ATS solution that you have, I would highly
like the likelihood of you changing.
Yeah, exactly. Would be, I would churn from it easily. And he's like, yeah, thank you so much for this. I will send it to our product team. And then I wrote, if you ever wanted to do push on the employer branding side on the platform, call me and I can be your product owner.
Oh my god, you said that.
Yeah, it was just a joke. But
I know. Did he respond to it? Did he laugh?
He left a heart.
Oh, the heart. What color?
Red.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah. No, but the thing is, I want to give kudos to Eric for reaching out.
Yeah,
because
that was
I
amazing.
Think it was amazing for him to reach out and actually care, and actually, I don't know, we'll see if they're gonna improve those things, not or they just be like, okay, we got the feedback, fuck it. Hopefully they improve, or maybe come with we can't do this because of this and this, you know. But matter of fact that they actually responded to this and reached out, and when the CS person didn't get answered, the CEO reached out.
Yeah, they escalated it.
I think that it might not even be Eric that is actually reaching out. It could be someone else using his account. But from a customer perspective, it's really nice because you feel kind of important, and that's usually how it is when it comes to customer service. You want to hear the person, and you want to make them feel important. And that's why it's super fun, and I think it's really good by Teamtailor that did this. So really kudos to them, and I think that super good.
Yeah, and I also think that when it then comes to like surveys in general, and people put a 2 out of 10. I mean, sometimes people are just also being grumpy and putting the worst number ever because on there, but just because they're in a bad mood or something happened, like all of these things, you can't really like. I don't know, sometimes you don't get the full story behind the 2, for example.
No.
But here they did everything in their power to actually hear it from you. And I think you actually had things to say and not just placing a 2 out of 10 for the sake of it. Whereas I think that if you turn it around to like people who actually put, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, do you also call them to say like, okay, thank you for giving us this review, but would you mind giving us 2 lines on what it is that you think is super great? Because that's also data going into their system on like, okay, everyone actually loves the header on the blog posts. Everyone loves that feature. So, I mean, why remove it if that was something that they really loved? So I think it goes both ways to look into the data when people put a really low number, but also very high.
And this comes into employer branding or talent acquisition as well, because you have sometimes you have the CNPS, like candidate NPS score, and that can be really interesting to look at depending if the candidate got the job, if they got rejected, and all that stuff. So that's also kind of very important feedback so you can perfect your process, recruitment process.
Yeah, and also get feedback from how you were responding in that process. For example, when I was a team teller, I've not been a team teller. When I was at Fall Damage, we measured our recruitment process by sending out a survey, etc. And candidates actually like responded, and they responded with like, Sophia did great with this and that. Like they put your name on the survey, and that when you looked into it, it was like, oh my God, they paid attention, and also my behavior throughout the recruitment process that actually affected someone at the end of the day. Like, so I moved someone's emotions. They felt like I was holding their hand throughout the process, or maybe I didn't. Like, no, she didn't respond in 2 days, and that actually made me anxious. Like, you get everything.
And I think that's the people that leave these comments and actually take time to do it. It's super nice.
Right, because how many actually respond?
But it's more often it's people that are hurt or didn't get the job or something that leaves a comment. Being upset. Usually, I've seen a ton of these times that happens. But we sometimes get some things that people are, I'm super happy I didn't get the job. I'm super happy how this process was. I think it was you really respect them and so on. And for the talent team working with this, it's super important. That kind of data is super, super important for them because it shows that they are giving value, that they're doing a great job, and they can show it internally to stakeholders and so on. So with that said, if you are in a recruitment process next time and you get the CNPS survey, answer it.
Yes.
And be not nice.
Be honest.
Be honest, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be nasty.
No, exactly. You don't have to be mean, but be honest. If you don't like it, say why so they can improve, and all of us will have a better recruitment experience in the long run. Yeah,
let's hope for that, because I know some processes out there, they are nasty.
Yeah.
And not talking about the candidates here, talking about the actual processes that you don't, like, again, this is nothing new, but that companies don't respond to candidates. I don't get it. Why don't you respond?
It could just be an automated email just saying we didn't take you in the process.
Yeah.
That's it.
To me, I don't get it.
It's so simple. It's just like one click away. Mark everyone.
Yeah.
And then
I honestly don't get it, and I'm shocked that this is still like a topic
in 2023.
In 2023. Like, what is going on here, guys? We've had this feedback. And again, going back to feedback, obviously we don't pay attention as TA teams. Like, just answer your candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, you would answer your users, like your customers, right?
Yeah, if they were, hey, we want to share or whatever.
You would pay attention. Yeah, sometimes I feel like we need to step it up a bit.
But there are companies doing this very good, but then it's those bad companies that do it really bad that gets a lot of attention on LinkedIn when someone writes about it, and then everyone in TA just gets shit for it.
I know. But I guess that goes for every like every field. Everyone has their own pitfall and like hate towards them and such. But yeah, in general, and what I was going to get to with that is that when you treat your candidates that badly in the process, like either you ghost them or you respond after 3 weeks saying that, oh, we still don't have feedback. Like, come on, what's taking so long? But when you don't respond, you're not thinking about how important the recruitment process is for your employer brand.
No.
To me, it's one of the core drivers to strengthen the employer brand, to actually
100%.
fill the process with a good experience. Because I mean, a good experience to me, that's at the end of the day, how are we doing here?
It's morning.
That necessarily don't correspond with someone getting a job.
No.
That to me is not the good experience. The good experience is that they actually leave the process either with a job or without it, but still feel like, wow, I was treated well throughout, and I can actually go and speak about this. And I would happily share. Like, that's what I want from the recruitment process.
Word of mouth is probably the most important channel that people don't care about. Or people care about, but they don't have to utilize it.
How do you nurture that, though? And how do you utilize that? Because I actually did a survey.
Keep everyone happy.
Just make everyone happy. No, but I think that I did a survey, actually, going back to surveys, a few weeks back, talking to new joiners into like, why did they join?
Ooh, that's interesting.
It's very interesting. It's an ongoing project. But anyhow, a lot of the data in there was actually like, word of mouth. Like, that was the biggest data point that we got out of it. There's like, oh my God, a lot of people actually join us because of word of mouth. They hear about us. Yeah. And that's not trackable.
No.
Like, how do you track word of mouth? Going into data and metrics and stuff.
No,
but like,
I mean, it's super difficult.
And again, I think, see, now we're getting into data and metrics. We were going to talk about content today. We're just going all over.
Yeah. Okay, last part about
it. No, but last part about that is that when you then go to your ATS, for example, because my ATS analytics is saying something completely different than from the survey. For example, 100%. Like the answers are not at all on the same page. So I go to Teamteller. We also use that. And I just see the very, very last part of when someone actually sends in the application. And I miss out on this entire universe on how someone actually got to know about us. Yeah. Because I can't track that piece without talking to people like, hey, Martin, how did you really hear about Funnel for the first time? Like, all these things. Yeah. I just see basically you pressing apply to this job. Yeah. Or you got to the career page, but I don't know how you got to the career page.
What I've seen or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so much information behind that. And then at the end of the day, I think as a TA person, you're like, oh, they didn't apply because my ad was shit. Yeah. Like, of course, the ad might not be great. There's always things to do with the ads. And that's for, maybe we can talk about that later in this episode, about content. Yeah. The job ad themselves. Yeah. But at the same time, that's not really true. To be so hard on yourself saying that, we don't get candidates because my ad sucks. There's the whole
usually not that the problem. No.
Exactly. So I mean, it's all the work that you've done before that to actually, I don't know, talk about your company, word of mouth, like nurture all these different channels 100%. That builds the story throughout time and not the specific ad.
But it's very easy to talk about the ad.
Yeah. And also seeing that as like, if we just have good ads, job ads,
then we'll get super many applications.
Then they're gonna come.
But let's leave data and metrics and so on. We're going to actually talk in the next episode. We're going to talk about goals, metrics for 2024.
Right, because 2024 is just around the corner.
So it's time. It's time to talk about it, and I think that's going to be a really interesting episode. But this time, or today, we're going to talk about content and some distribution as well. Because that's one of the things that we kind of touched on in the last episode, that someone reached out to me and saying, hey, I want to know more about this. And I think it's a super, super good thing to talk about. Because when I shared that clip on LinkedIn with with distribution and content, someone actually comment, or Thomas that works at Funnel as an SEO guy, comment, it's 20% creating content, 80% distribution. And I think that's a really, like the 80-20 rule, which is super, super interesting, because when it comes to paid advertising on like social media, you always talk about 80% of the budget should go on awareness stage or whatever, and 20% should go on conversions, because you need to fill that pool with people that knows about your brand, and then you can try to convert. This is more in e-commerce, but I like the idea of it. And I think that something that a lot of people unfortunately are really, I don't know if it's lack of knowledge or they just don't have the time, but I've seen so many times that people create content, or they take in agency to creating content for them or whatever, and they post it once and then it's dead.
Yeah.
We touched on this last episode as well. But what I think is the most important is consistency, and actually being like posting maybe once a week or whatever, and then you're gonna see some result, because you can't just post once and hope for it to go viral and then you'll be like, yes, fine. You need to actually be consistent. Like every single brand, it's even if it's like an employer brand or a product brand, you never see a product marketing team just post once and then just wait for things to happen. They work continuously with this. So it shocks me kind of sometimes that we are so naive in TA that we think that posting once is enough.
But I think that comes down to, okay, then who is posting?
Exactly.
Is it TA people? Because TA people, goodness, we're everything, and we have 200 hats in this role. We're
That's
supposed
the
to
problem
be
with it.
social media managers. We're supposed to be content creators.
Yes.
We're very much supposed to be service minded and a little bit like customer support, like customer excellence people as well. And again, can we expect from a TA person that they know how to utilize every social channel there is in the best possible way for the best possible outcome? Like,
no, we can't. But then also, it's unreasonable how much you expect someone working in TA to know everything. It's basically digital marketing 10 years ago, when they were supposed to be social media manager, they're supposed to be paid specialist, there's to be data specialist, everything. Right. And that's not fair, because a person always have a certain amount of time. And now you see all these like specialist roles, like performance marketing specialist, content specialist, even data analyst in a marketing team. And I think this is the problem with TA organizations today. They don't have the resources. They don't get the money to have someone actually working full-time with employer branding. Usually is someone that is working full-time with recruitment, being like, hey, you want to do this. Okay, how many hours can I have doing this? You can have 2 hours each week doing this. And we want to see some results on it.
Of course.
Good luck. And you don't follow up. You don't actually put in any resources. You don't help them with stakeholders. You just let them go. I think we need to be, or TA leaders need to be more clear and saying, okay, here is, even though it's just 2 hours a week, set goals, set expectation, let the person actually commit to that person doing those 2 hours and not doing anything else. Because if they want to learn a bit better, they can, 2 hours still not enough maybe, but they can start the process. Because if you don't start, you're never gonna build a brand or start to build a brand.
Exactly. I think there's two things to this. I
feel mad when I'm talking about this.
Get so mad. I can feel it. No, but I think there's two things to this. So, okay, everyone, as a company, you might not have the possibility to have a full marketing team designated to your TA team. Like,
no,
it's hard times.
Most often not.
Exactly, and it's hard times right now. Like,
yes.
That's just the world we're in. So I think there's two routes to this. I think one, either you rethink about how to build TA teams for the future. And when I say that, I mean, like, maybe you only need one recruiter, but then you need a content creator, and then maybe you need like an analytics engineer or a data scientist to be more of a squad, like a tech squad, to like bring in different competencies and skill sets that combined creates the inbound that you're looking for, but also focus on the outbound, but also the experience as a whole. Jesus. Yeah, all over today. Sorry about that. No, but that's one thing. So how do you actually set up your TA team for success? Who do you actually recruit to your TA team? That's one thing. But then on the second, or the route 2, is to actually help the people that you have today in your TA teams. And most often that's a mix between junior talent acquisition specialist to talent partners. So that's like the range. So everyone is basically just focusing on funneling applications and candidates throughout the process, which is fine. That's the reality of most people. But then how do you create content creators out of those recruiters? Like, how can you, with easy tools, help them to actually create content themselves and not being blocked by marketing? How can you help them understand better on how to utilize these social platforms? Maybe the first step is that you have too many. You can't post on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, blog, and all these things at the same time. Maybe that's too much because you can't post the same content on all channels. So you have to be creative on, okay, what works on Instagram? Maybe a picture, maybe not. Works on TikTok, obviously a short video. Like, there's many different ways to behave on these platforms. But I think that as a TA person, you just have to, like, you're just doing your best, to be honest. You're just trying to survive at times because you have 20 ongoing processes.
And you feel super overwhelmed by this, everything happening.
Of course, and everyone in a TA function, they know that I have to start creating awareness about this position so that I can help myself to not spend the time on only doing outreach. If I create content, then I don't have to spend as much time on outreach because I attract people who's interested, and then I can actually spend time in the process, being close to hiring managers, helping them out, and also being there for the candidates. So I think there's two routes to this. And ultimately, I think route 2, we're not there, or route 1, we're not there yet. Like,
probably
building
in the
squads.
future. I mean,
probably in the future, but not
right
today.
now. No.
So today, I think we have to focus on the second part, was that how can you help your recruiters to become content creators?
Exactly.
Yes. And so what I think a question then that pops up in many people's mind is like, content? What content should I create?
Where do I start?
All these things. What would you say working with content? I mean, you create a lot of different content.
No, I've been very open with where you can start, because people always expect, okay, I need to content. It needs to be video or, this fancy stuff. It takes time. I mean, I've been working with videos for 10 plus years, learning the skill. So that can take some time making, like, you can make simple stuff, obviously, but if you want to make fancy stuff. But then what most TA people are good at is writing. So start with maybe a blog post and share that on LinkedIn or whatever, because it's easy to create. You can maybe add some pictures and so on. It's like it's good, like, easy going into the creation phase. And start to try, and then you can also maybe work together with the marketing team. They can help you with, I don't know, pictures or whatever. So I usually say to people, if someone comes to me and asks, like, I'm a recruiter, where should I start with for branding or content creation? I always say, start with talking to the people in your organization and see if there's interesting stories. You don't have to be pushing a certain role or something, but talk about their challenges, what they enjoy doing, how they got to the company, and so on. And write that into text. Maybe not make it too long, but do it. And then post it on your career site, and then you can share it on your LinkedIn, because then you have it on 2 places, which is good.
Right. So when you say share it on LinkedIn, you don't actually mean that copy paste on all the text?
No. Of course not. That's a really good one. You can actually take that, the link or whatever, and then you maybe can post a picture of the person on LinkedIn, adding something. Hey, a caption. I don't know what.
Read more about.
Read more of the person. And a link to it, and then some people might just read that and be like, okay, I've seen this and like it and whatever. And some people might actually go into the blog and read it there. But I think that what a lot of people is kind of missing here is that blog posts are really good you can do a lot of different stuff with blog posts. You can reuse them, you can post them again, you can, you can make parts into a Q&A, whatever. You can do so much stuff out of one thing. So talking about having few hours, but you want to do a lot, blog post is pretty good because you can do so much from it. And I think that that's where I would start. But then if you really want to take it, like put an effort into this, then it's a whole other route. I think that's that we talked about, that you need to actually focus, put goals and so on. But I think you should always put goals on that this TA person doing this as well, and also make them really like define the goal. So during this first half of 2024, we want to accomplish 5,000 engagement on LinkedIn. That would be a like, comment, or share, or a click or something. That's what we want to measure. 5,000 of those in half a year, pretty much. And this will be attainable by X person putting 2 hours a week into this, creating content. And this will also be posted on LinkedIn. So can you remember when we went to uni, when they talked about SMART goals?
Yes.
Yeah, and this is basically that. really defining the time frame, the scope, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I think a lot of people are missing. Now I'm kind of jumping here, but people usually say, okay, we want to build a strong employer brand. But they don't kind of define what it is or how they're going to get there or whatever. So if you start there, give the resources to a TA person, let them create some content, and like work together. If you're a TA manager now, work together with that person on like supporting them. Also work with them internally as a stakeholder manager, and make sure that marketing is on board and everything. And I promise you will see results from this. Positive results from this, because it might sound really difficult, but it's not that difficult really. You just have to start, and that's the end of my sommarprat.
Thank you for a keynote. No, but what I think from hearing this is that that's too complicated.
Really?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think that there's time for that, because a hiring need will always be your top prio. So even though you have those 2 hours per week,
but if you really commit to them.
No, but I hear you, and I want to believe that that's possible. I just don't think it is. I like to be completely honest, because I've been in so many TA teams, and they're like, so I have this blocked time in my calendar to be creative. I don't know about you guys, but I can never be creative on a clock time. Like,
okay, no.
Okay, 2:00 on Fridays. Woo, creative. Like, I can't. So that's number one. But number two, it's the whole thing that you say about connecting with the organization. I very much think, and I want to believe, that marketing have time to sit down with TA and like help them and support them. But number one, they work for the commercial brand.
Yeah.
They have to prioritize the users, the customers, whatever their mission is. On the other side, I think it's equally as important to have the right people in your organization in order to drive the business success, as it is to have users buying your products.
Yeah, but also employer branding content affects the buyer and make people buy because they see a person behind it.
But now we're putting pressure on people saying that, because now we're like, then I have to start creating content. Like, yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have to start today. But at the same time, take it down a notch. It's okay. What people want to hear, and I think, again, you talked about conversations. I'm all about going to the organization and actually hearing what people are talking about, what is engaging, what's challenging, what is the word, like what are we talking about in this company. I think that's really interesting. But also as a recruiter, you have the reality that you're in is that you have these 5 positions that you need to fill. Focus on them. You don't have to build the bigger brand for the entire organization. Focus on them, because you need to fill those positions, and that's probably within 2 days if you ask the hiring manager. Focus on them. Take the first one. Maybe you're looking for a social media manager. Perfect.
Post on TikTok.
Post on TikTok.
Sorry.
No. And that's probably true. But like, go to the marketing team. See what they are saying about this position. Why do we have this need? Why do we care about social media? Like, really get the core, the purpose of that role, and then try to write the blog post about that. The blog post doesn't have to be long, but just create something and then go back to, okay, what does candidates actually ask about in the processes? Maybe they ask about, okay, so I'm going to be a social media manager at that company. Who's my manager? Who's going to be the one that I can talk to? Talk to that person and see, hey, Sarah, who are you as a leader? What can I expect from working with you? What do you think is fun with the things that you're doing? Like, ask that person, and then you start building the story from there. Because I think just like, go and talk to people in the organization. It's like, okay, hell, where do I start? Like, do you just walk over to another team? Because again, TA, we very much sit with people and culture. We have our own little pod. We don't leave. We don't go to data analytics and like, hey guys, how's your day? What's the challenge in your job? Like,
you don't. That's the only thing I do.
Okay, so on the next topic of that, it's to actually become comfortable in talking to people. Because now we're saying like, get up and talk to people. Yeah, perfect. In a dream scenario, in a dream world, that's just comes naturally. But there's a lot of trust going in and like relationship building in order to get the content started. You need to go to your internal friends. And you need, as a TA person, to have friends in a company. You need to be friends with the different departments. You need to be friends with the different specialists. You have to care about them and also make them care about you as like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do here? Like, make friends and then get the story going.
And I totally agree. And I think that, as you say, like making friends internally is super, super important. And I mean, I work with employer branding on a daily basis, and I still struggle sometimes approaching people because it's not. I'm really bad at just doing this like first impression approaching. So what I usually do on this, like I usually just a ease of saying, write to them on Slack, like, hey, I want to do this with your team. You just want to take a quick coffee and just talk about it, and it's so much easier because then you like now you're friends kind of, because people are usually very open to this. People like to talk about themselves and what they like to do. So once you just do that, they will be happy to talk about stuff. And then I go, let's go. But it takes, it's not very natural just to be like, if some people might have that, you're like, woo!
Some people's are just stars. I mean, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
but
amazing.
if you're a bit
more like us,
if you're not super comfortable, approach someone where you don't have to go and knock them on the shoulder. Just go on the Slack or whatever and write to them, and then you'll take it from there.
Yeah, and also ask when they have the time to talk about this. Don't just push yourself onto their schedule and busy things.
Make them your friend.
Exactly. No, I think that's like really coming down to it. If you have friends internally where you can also feel like you're true to yourself and not, like, hey, we need to sell this company and this amazing opportunity. Like, no. Calm down. You just need to share the story of what it's like to be in your shoes at this company. So don't overdo it. Like, don't overthink the whole thing. Like, sit down and talk to people, just like you and I are doing right now. We're just talking, but it's not that we're like, okay, so 3 nuggets on how to do this. Like, that can be so aggressive.
Just talk and be chill and let them be a part of it. Work together.
And bring coffee or tea.
And something nice. Maybe a snack.
maybe a snackaroo. Not spinning chairs though. Don't do that.
Have we spin a lot today? I don't know.
I don't think I put my foot down and I'm like, don't you move.
Don't you dare to spin.
Exactly. I think
it's a hassle to edit.
Was it hard to edit last episode?
Oh,
no.
I mean, we're spinning sometimes, but usually when you talked about something, you were sitting still. It's not like this when you go talking at the same time, but it worked. But here we are again in the spinning chairs, which these chairs are fantastic.
Back to the Jetson.
So nice.
Yeah, thank you, Grandpa.
Yeah, I love that also that you inherited these ones.
Yeah, these are like a good 50 years.
And this is quality.
This is quality, just like our content.
Imagine if this were built by, I don't know, Shein or something.
Yeah, no, it would break down.
Yeah, it wouldn't last. But this is high quality. They put a lot of effort into it, making it solid. And that's what you should do with your employer brand as well.
Right?
Yeah, long term.
Yeah, long term.
Long term. We have talked for 41 minutes now, which was went quick today.
Yeah.
Real fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in here.
Yes.
I'm very interested in the 2 routes for the TA teams.
Yeah.
Like, how are we actually going to do this? Because I think that as a recruiter, I know it's stressful.
Yeah.
You have so much on your plate. You have a lot of stressed hiring managers. It's a bunch of sense of urgency. You have to jump onto many different contexts. You have to be the expert of the organization. Yeah. People expect you to know what a squad lead is, all these things.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's just that if you're a TA person out there, remember that you also carry the brand throughout the recruitment process. You are very much the pillar of the organization and the first point of contact for candidates.
Yeah.
Make sure that you do whatever you can to improve that process.
Yeah.
And that might be that you create better templates to approach candidates, when they're in the process. Yeah. But really get started with your content creation and don't set the standard to be a production team.
No. Exactly.
Just
start easy.
Start easy. Start with maybe content that you've tried yourself. Yeah. For example, I've had my Instagram for how many years now? Pictures, good. That's what I'm comfortable with. Yeah. Maybe I can start with that. Maybe, like you say, maybe you have a passion for copywriting. Start with that. Maybe you're also really good at video. Yeah. Start with that. Whatever you feel comfortable with, start with that. But I do think that people should go on Canva. Yeah, that's a really easy way to start. Canva.com. Yeah. Check it out. It's like Photoshop and for beginners. And it's even they have a free version of it, which is super easy too. So, yeah, I think that start easy, but just start. Yeah, just start. And remember that. Exactly. And I also think that people internally, they might be a little bit scared to be on video, be on pictures and all these things. That's when Canva can come in and help you to just do better looking stuff. Yeah, just stuff. You don't even have to have people's faces in there already. You can just have basically a thumbnail or a question, something. But I would start with Canva. Yes, I agree, 100%. Goody, my friend. Goody. Before we leave, I just want to mention quickly one thing. So, I am open for new assignments. Yes, you are. Yes, I have one client signed in the signing phase, so hopefully that's done. So I have another about 50%, so that would be 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month, because I'm quick at math there. Doing employer branding work. So if your organization needs help to actually really build a brand and create content and want to take it to next level, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Martin Solaya, or whatever. If you find my phone number somewhere, you can call me. But reach out to me and we can take it from there. But hurry, because people are actually reaching out. I know, and the video that you posted, that got so much attention. Yeah. It would be really fun if someone listening to the podcast would be a future client. That would be so nice. That would be so nice. That would be so fun. That's a good user story. How did you hear about Martin? Exactly. So Attribution. Attribution. Yeah. That's for another episode. Yeah. Per, we have your request. We're going to talk about attribution. It's coming up. it's coming. But also on that note,
Yep.
you're interested in new assignments, you're open for that.
Yeah.
But I also think that one thing that you get from working together with you, like if I'm on the TA team side now, that you actually get a mentor in how to do this. Like all the things that we just talked about today, you are the perfect guy to actually sit down with, and like you can help them to just get started. And if you have 20 hours a week, I would say that invest that in mentor time for your teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean also like help with stakeholder management and like get the marketing team maybe on the right track and so on. So it's reach out. Just don't hesitate.
Let's grab a coffee and talk more, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy.
Right?
It's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get a cappuccino and get the conversation going.
All right. Yeah.
Perfect. Goody.
Next episode, we're gonna do KPIs data 2024.
Choo-choo.
Until then, thank you for listening and have a fantastic day.
Yeah, do it. The best day.
The best day. It's Friday.
It's Friday today.
Friday.
Remember that song?
Woo.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Bye.